In the news from the RT, world is one miscalculation away from nuclear annihilation. UN Chief. Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that humanity faces the greatest risk since the Cold War. Rising geopolitical tensions around the world have put the global populace at its greatest risk of being wiped out by nuclear weapons since the Cold War ended. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned. Today, humanity is just one misunderstanding, one miscalculation away from nuclear annihilation, Guterres said on Monday at the Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT) review conference in New York. He urged the world's nations to put humanity on a new path toward a world free of nuclear weapons. The UN chief claimed that conflicts around the globe, human rights violations, the climate crisis, and the C-19 pandemic have put our world under greater stress than it has faced in our lifetimes. Risks of nuclear warfare are at the highest level since the height of the Cold War, he added. Humanity is in danger of forgetting the lessons forged on the terrifying fires of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Guterres said. Geopolitical tensions are reaching new heights. Competition is trumping cooperation and collaboration. Mistrust has replaced dialogue, and disunity has replaced disarmament. The NPT should be strengthened to make it fit for the warring world around us, the Secretary General said, citing the Russia-Ukraine conflict and tensions in the Middle East and on the Korean Peninsula. Almost 13,000 nuclear weapons are now being held in arsenals around the world. All this at a time when the risks of proliferation are growing and guardrails to prevent escalation are weakening. The clouds that parted following the end of Cold War are gathering once more. You have been extraordinarily lucky so far, but luck is not a strategy, nor is it a shield from geopolitical tensions boiling over into nuclear conflict. Guterres lamented that countries are seeking security by investing hundreds of billions of dollars to stockpile doomsday weapons that have no place on our planet. Jewel, the third chapter, come and should come to mind. He argued that trying to reduce the risk of wars breaking out isn't enough because eliminating nuclear weapons is the only guarantee they will never be used. The UN chief said he would travel to Japan for the August 6th anniversary of the U.S. nuclear bombing of Hiroshima, then make stops in other Asia-Pacific countries for talks with their leaders on non-proliferation. The U.S., the only country ever to have deployed a nuclear bomb in war, reportedly spent $44.2 billion on such weaponry in 2021, exceeding the $38.2 billion spent by the 8 other nuclear-armed nations combined. China ranked second in nuclear spending at $11.7 billion, while Russia was number 3 at $8.6 billion. For more than 50 years, the NPT has made our world safer and more prosperous, and the treaty is never more important than in times of crisis. U.S. Secretary of State Antonio Blinken said on Monday, "The United States stands ready to work with all our partners to ensure a safer world for everyone," which is vanity. Revelation chapter 11 verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors be unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom you so call Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great and abroad. To you I say Shalom and Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ratazah. This lesson is edifying and informative. Again, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past. World War II has already passed. And behold, the third woe, which is World War III, cometh quickly. And so World War III, according to biblical prophecy here in Revelation chapter 11, verse 14, cometh quickly. A war that will be fought with burning and fuel of fire, by reason of fire that will be generated through nuclear chain reactions known as fusion and fission. For a fire not blown, as it is written in the book of Job, the 20th chapter, shall consume the kingdom of the wicked. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 5, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. So when we examine the wars of antiquity, they were fought against nations, going against each other with swords and spears and staves and arrows and bows, armors on, and so on and so forth, against each other. Men would be impaling each other with spears and staffs and swords, cutting each other's arms and heads off, screaming. That's how ancient wars were fought of old. But this, that is the third world's woe, which cometh quickly after the MOTB, which is the RFID microchip, has been mandated, shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Now, we will examine a particular word, pardon me, known as equilibrium. Equilibrium. Because you see, the fire that the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai will unleash through the weapons of his indignation, which are the ICBM nuclear missiles, will cause everything within its range to equalize in the temperature that those missiles will generate through the heat, through the fire. And one statement was made in this article by Antonio Gutierrez that nations have been spending billions of dollars, and particularly America, towards nuclear weapons. Why is that? Because the Lord has put it in the minds of their generals, of their leaders, to understand that we are in a season of war. Is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 8, a time to love and a time to hate. And we see that these nations have hate against each other, especially against America. In fact, today, Nancy Pelosi is to visit Taiwan, and China had earlier issued threats that if she visits Taiwan, China will retaliate, which remains to be seen. Nonetheless, tensions are rising. A lot of things are happening around the globe. We are in a season of war, of hate, and not of love and peace. And a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. Hence the reason why these nations have been beating their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears. That is to say that they've been using their economic wealth towards the research and development of weapons of mass destruction. All right? Towards developing these hypersonic, which means exceeding sound, nuclear missiles. Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, the heathen nations. Prepare war for war. Third world's war, which cometh quickly. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Where? To the valley of Jehoshaphat. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. In other words, take your economic wealth and use it towards the research and development and enhancement of weapons of mass destruction, and particularly for intercontinental ballistic missiles, which are the weapons of the Lord's indignation. According to Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 25, let the weak say, weak nations such as Iran, Pakistan, India, that now possess intercontinental ballistic missiles, North Korea amongst them as well, say, I am strong. Why? Because now they have nuclear capabilities to level the playing field. Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about where? In the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is in the Middle East, in the Arabian Peninsula. Okay. And gather yourselves together round about to the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. The mighty ones are the angels. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. The word Jehoshaphat in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment, because that's where the Most High is going to judge the heathen nations round about through his son when he returns, or Lord, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, referred to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Now, let's go to 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, because remember, the scripture says that the elements shall melt with fervent heat. 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 10, but the day of the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, will come as a thief in the night. So our Lord Yahweh Shai will return as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away. This current rulership is going to pass away. How? Through nuclear fire, with a great noise by reason of those nuclear missiles. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Now let's add some more insight through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to why it says the element shall melt with fervent heat. Now, this is something that was brought up by the Ella Amnawala, excuse me. Okay, the Ella Amnawala from the New York camp. Okay, here in the New York camp. And the word equilibrium means equal balance and even balance. A horizontal position from equilibrious, equal level, evenly balanced. Equal meaning identical in amount, extent, unified, identical, equal. So equal meaning fair or identical in amount or extent. And librium means balance from libra. So equilibrium means equal balance. So once those nuclear missiles detonate, the fire is going to cause the atmosphere, the elements, to equalize with the heat. Everything is going to become an equal balance with the heat. That's tens of millions, hundreds of millions of degrees Celsius. Okay, it is said that the heat that is generated by a nuclear missile is hotter than the interior of the sun. And that's pretty hot, man. We don't want to feel that. That's why we pray that we are of the Lord's elect. Okay. Equilibrium, a equal balance, identical in amount, extent. So again, the elements are literally gonna melt with fervent heat. Why? Because the heat is gonna equalize everything around it. This is why the scripture says that the heavens are gonna depart as a scroll, because the hot air is gonna be pushing against the cold air, which is gonna cause the mushroom cloud to form. It's called the Rayleigh Taylor, or the Rayleigh Taylor, instability. Okay, which is the instability between two interfaces of different density. You could check that up when you have the hot air pushing against the cold air, which forms a mushroom cloud. Okay, you can check it up for yourselves. Pardon me. On Wikipedia, it's called the Rayleigh Taylor instability. Now it reads on to say, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. So this man's current rulership is going to burn up. Fire going to blaze everything up, burn everything up, scorch everything up, and left nothing but dust, a wasteland, smell of smoke. Seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, wherein the heavens being a fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Okay, so these things are going to come upon the kingdom of the wicked. And seeing that all these things are going to dissolve, what manner of person are we to be? We ought to be in fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, praying to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, hoping to the Lord that the Lord is going to deliver us from these plagues and calamities to come. In all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening, because we hastening unto the coming of the day of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved. And that's going to literally happen, man. For you Benjamites out there, there's a song, I don't know if you remember, it's called Melt Away by Max Romeo. Melt away. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So the fire gonna burn up everything. Anyhow, with that, I'm gonna say shalom to the elect. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Achakudash, Brakatam to the elect. Lord's willing, this was edifying.